It's a hell of a long day.
It's a long day.
It's a long day. And like on top of that, teachers don't tend to factor in that like lots of students work. Like I work. So I'll go 9 to 3:30 and then work from 4 to 9.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like a full-time job. And I don't think people factor that in as well, because you tend to get a lot of homework in year 11 and 12. So I think that people need to take that into account more, that we're not just at school, you know, we do have lives outside of school.
Let's start with, what's your vibe on school?
So with school, I think it's just a matter of like, there are so many kids and it's just like one strict curriculum, and it's just like you don't have an excuse to just teach one sort of thing, because everybody has different learning techniques and you know how they interpret things. So I just think it's like an interesting approach to kind of do it by one mainstream.
Yeah. So that totally makes sense, because that's what they do. It's like a one size fits all.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you just can't do that, especially this day and age as well, because everybody's just very diverse within themselves. Like, everybody has different personalities, everybody looks different, everybody feels different, everybody interprets things different. So if it's like a one size fits all, it's not going to work for much longer.
How has that hindered, or not hindered, your experience at school?
I think that it's a matter of like people that are really good at school, and that this sort of learning suits them.
That kind of learning
that
style,
kind of thing. So it's just kind of like, that's a bit disheartening, knowing that just because somebody learns a certain way better than you, they're going to get marked up in everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, well, you know, it's not worth trying that much if I'm not good at this learning style.
Do you know what your learning style is? How do you learn? Yeah.
More of a hands-on approach, and I feel like I'm pretty good at like theory and things like that, but especially when it comes to group tasks and things like that, I'm pretty good at it. Yeah, that's my kind of learning.
Can you give us an example of when you learned something maybe out of school and you're like, I picked that up really easily because I got to do it my way? Like, what's an example?
You know what, actually, maybe lash extensions, which is really weird, but like me and my friend decided that we wanted to do each other's lashes.
Yeah.
And so we got to pick that up by working as a team. We didn't go to anybody, but we just like analysed a bunch of different sources, YouTube videos, websites, and we managed to figure out how to do it correctly and all that. And that was sort of like a big breakthrough for me, because that was kind of like, oh, like I know how to do this and I know how to teach myself this, you know? So that was kind of
perfect example. Yeah, because then you just got to learn something.
Yeah, and hands-on as well. So it was like perfect.
Yeah. So why can't they just do more of that? It makes sense.
It's terrible, but they should.
What do you feel like you've learnt at school? Like when you think about, you're in year 11. You've been there for a while now, 11 years.
Yes, that's sad. Just like subject-wise, like
anything,
like techniques maybe. Oh yeah, psychology. That's my favourite subject, and so I've learnt a lot about like all of that, and I had to study for the exam that we did, so like I got to learn about all of that, and then I managed to like study it and remember it as well. So like that was a bit of my own learning. Like I managed to
memorize
all this stuff. Yeah,
so really good at.
Yeah,
memorize this and then regurgitate it.
It was great.
And now, what can you remember from that test now?
I can remember a lot.
Okay.
The one thing I do remember was I got a B and I got a couple marks off an A, and that was because we did something on the limbic system in the test, but we didn't do it in class. So that was like a bit annoying, but it was all about the amygdala and hippocampus, all the stuff to do with the brain. So yeah, that was fun. I like that a lot.
Okay. So you're finding that interesting?
Yeah, I like psychology a lot, but I think that's also because my teacher's great as well.
Okay.
So maybe it could just be the learning technique, or it could just be the way that the teacher teaches it maybe.
What are they doing different, this teacher?
I think he does more of a hands-on approach. You know, like he asks the class instead of just talking for the whole duration of the lesson, because that gets so annoying. It's so annoying. It seriously is. He's just a good teacher, I think.
It involves you in the process.
In our own learning, I think.
What would you like to learn about that you're not learning about?
Something to do with networking, because I know that you can't really teach it, but you can teach, how to communicate formally, sort of thing. So when you're applying for jobs maybe as well. And it's not even just like the social aspect of it, it's more the formal aspect of it. Like if you don't know how to be formal with other people or that kind of thing, which like I don't necessarily struggle with that. I'm great at socializing. I'm great at socializing. But I think even amongst the school, like there are people that just don't know how to talk to you in a formal manner. And it's like, geez, you could use a couple lessons on this, you know?
Okay.
And I feel like that, or something to do with like life skills, taxes maybe. Just because like I have no idea how to do my taxes and I don't think I will, so.
This comes up a lot.
I know, yeah.
I hear a lot of kids say that because I think they watch their parents and they hear their conversations with their parents and like, how much? Because parents don't really know how to do that.
Yeah, my mum was just doing her taxes like before and she was like, we were at the shops and she goes, I've got to go home and do my taxes. And that was kind of like, oh, I don't want to do my taxes. Like, I don't know how to do mine.
Why do we even need to do them? Why are we paying so much tax anyway? Anyway, different subject. Okay, perfect. So you'd like to learn about taxes, communication, networking.
That sort of thing, networking especially,
Why is that? What do you think you're going to need networking for? What do you hope to use it for?
Well, if I were to go into like real estate or law, because those are two careers that definitely interest me. Real estate especially because it's like hands-on as well. Like I get to go to places, it's not just I sit at a desk all day. And law is just that. I'm quite good at memorizing some things as well, so I feel like that would be a good job to do given my skill set. And so networking formally, I'm sort of like, I want to learn that because I do want to be able to communicate formally, like with bosses, peers, all of that. And I don't want to be the odd one out that just isn't sure how to send like a proper email or like a proper proposition.
So something you actually are going to need to do in
definitely.
your career. So do you feel like if you were to leave tomorrow, you'd be prepared for this career in real estate or law? Because that's what a school's essentially there for. They say that we're preparing you for real life, and then when you leave, it's like, am I?
Yeah, that's an interesting one because I feel like if we fast forward to me in year 12 and like I'm leaving the school then, maybe, but I just think that the networking thing would be so useful. And as well as like being at school for ages and then you have to go to uni for ages, it's just like a whole thing. I'm sure like they'll teach you more, but like coming straight out of high school, I'm not too sure that I'd be able to pull that off.
Which is amazing because you just spent 12 years at school.
Oh yeah. 12 years.
12 years and what did I get?
12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. Would you go to school? If you had a choice, would you go to school? If there was a different
You know what? I would, but only because I feel like some bits of the curriculum are useful. And I know that school is like literally created to raise workers, not thinkers. But I think it's also important that you have like knowledge on things like that. Like not a huge expansive knowledge, but basic knowledge.
Yeah.
So like maybe, but I would say like 3 days a week or something. Like as in 3 solid days of essential curriculum and then the rest of the week you maybe do things like hands-on, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then teach me just the stuff I really need to know.
The essentials and stuff.
Yeah. They should do that.
Yeah. I would definitely go to school in Europe though because of how it's set up. Like you get the 2 hours in the middle of the day because the sleep cycle plays into that as well. Like you tend to crash at around 1, 2. And so that they do that in Europe where you get to go home for 2 hours before you come back. Yeah, siesta. I think that would be so good.
Yeah.
Like I think that would just be useful.
It's a long day.
It's a hell of a long day. It's a hell of a long day.
It's a long day.
It's a long day. And like on top of that, teachers don't tend to factor in that like lots of students work. Like I work, so I'll go from school, my school goes 9 to 3:30 instead of 8:30 to 3.
Okay.
So it's the same hours anyways, but I'll go 9 to 3:30 and then work from 4 to 9.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like a full-time job. And I don't think people factor that in as well because you tend to get a lot of homework in year 11 and 12. So I think that people need to take that into account more, that we're not just at school, you know, we do have lives outside of school. So,
interesting. The kids I'm speaking to that are your age, in that they've said verbatim that. They're like, I don't think the teachers realise I had a life.
No, yeah, it's really weird. I just think I think that it's a huge thing. Like it's all with, I suppose they're getting workers early now. That's all. That's all that I think of it. They're just getting workers in now. And the problem is, if you don't have a job now, then you can't get a job in the future because after school, because you don't have job experience. So there's actually no way around it.
You want to do. Yeah, I started working when I was 14.
Yeah, it's annoying.
In Maya Centre.
Yeah. Maya Centre?
In the food court.
No way. Oh no, yeah, I was 14 too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so good,
Sunrise.
but yeah, you just like, it is a long day, and then you're working weekends. And
Yeah.
to do the stuff that you don't really care about.
No, yeah. That's a good
I gotta
one.
do my homework.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. So how would you design, like, what's your ideal, explain to me your ideal day, week. What does the best life look like? If you got to just create it, there's no rules, there's just your rules.
Oh.
Annie's rules. What would Annie's rules be?
Well, first of all, I like the European setup of school, but I wouldn't necessarily do that here because you can't.
No, it's Annie's rules.
Oh, wait, it is Annie's rules.
Yeah.
But I probably still wouldn't do it.
Okay.
To be honest. I can't explain exactly why, but I just probably wouldn't. I think I'm too used to it now, but like, I think it would be great if I was like younger, you know? Like my sister could probably do it, but this is Annie's. I would probably do the 3 solid days of school a week where it's essential curriculum. Maybe you're taught hands-on things like that, life skills. And I don't mind how long those 3 days go for. You know, not like exorbitant hours, but you know, nothing crazy. And then the rest of the week is like yours, you know? Because what's that thing about the homeschooling thing? How if you were to homeschool your kid, they'd be done.
If they could do a whole
early?
curriculum in 6 weeks.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's ridiculous. So I'd probably do that kind of thing. Yeah, that's like ideal.
Yeah.
But I'd like wipe a couple of subjects that I just like. I think that they, especially in year 11, they try to fill up the subjects. Like I'm doing media studies. Why would I need media studies?
Yeah.
You know, I don't need this many classes. I just need to do like math, science, English.
So it's like, why am I learning stuff that doesn't interest me?
No, yeah. Just because I have to fill up my subjects.
Tick a
It doesn't
box.
make sense.
Yeah, a lot of box ticking.
Yeah. It's really weird. So I'd probably wipe those classes, maybe add some like other classes in there, but yeah.
Do the stuff you want to do, but it's got to prepare you for the life you want.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Done.
Yeah.
It's great. Now, there's a few things going on at the moment. This is probably just a little bit life in general and school in general.
Yeah.
Like there's a few ideologies that are out
That
there.
is insane.
Okay.
That is insane.
Tell me what's going on.
So school has literally stopped turning into a place of learning and into a place of acceptance and all this other crap, which it's just, I think that it's going too far. Like while I respect other people's wishes, you know, you can do what you want, but you can't expect to force it on somebody, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And especially during like break times as well, because they've taken away mobile phones, which I actually quite like the mobile phone policy. But there's lots of things going on in like our school courtyards that have to do with certain groups and certain ideologies that, you know, are kind of forced on everybody. And if you don't agree with it, you're a bigot, all this other stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like you can get suspended if you don't like agree with it, if you don't oblige to it, that kind of.
So you're being coerced or forced to participate in something that you don't want to participate in, or am I misunderstanding that?
Sort of, but like more, how do I put it? I wouldn't say accept it, because you know, everybody can accept whatever, but
like participate in something you don't want to participate
sort
in?
of, yeah, especially in like some of health classes, like some of my friends are in. I don't take health because I do other classes. Yeah, in those sort of classes you have to learn about things that like you don't really need to learn about and you don't really want to either. And it's like, oh, you know, but if you don't oblige to it, you know, it's the school curriculum, all this other stuff, but it's just weird. What's going on is weird. Like, I don't think any of this thing, any specific ideology, like just at all, should be in a school ground. It has no place in a school ground. School's a place for learning, all this other stuff. Like, I don't...
How do your friends feel about it? What's the consensus amongst your kind of group? Do people like are seeing what you're seeing, or they're like, oh, this is totally normal? And
I think people are seeing what we're seeing.
Okay.
You know, like it's not kind of, because it's kind of weird. You know, a very small minority has to be celebrated so openly, and you know, it's not really something that you want to celebrate openly. But yeah, I don't know.
So everyone's finding it, well, a lot of people are finding it kind of like...
it's not that we've got anything against it.
No, it's not them, it's just like, why is this
I don't
being
know,
taught?
it has no place in a school ground. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
And if children are feeling like that, if the kids are feeling like that...
You'd think they'd do something about it.
Yeah.
But are you in the wrong for asking that? You know, that kind of thing?
So they're making you feel like you can't ask. And do the teachers...
I think it's the teachers as well, because they've got to like... Obviously, it's their students and stuff, so they've they've kind of got to go with it. You can't really do anything about it.
And they can. But
Yeah, they can, but they won't.
They can. And parents? Are parents coming? Do you know of any parents that are coming to the school and going, you know what, this is not?
I don't think that it's gotten that far to parents yet. I don't think people really know of it outside of the school. You know, it's kind of like not kept under wraps, but it's not something you'd go home and tell your parents about.
Really?
That kind of thing.
Yeah. So have you spoken to your parents about what's going on?
Yes, I have. But I don't think many others have. And if they do, where's the conversation gonna go? You know? It's probably gonna stay within your house.
Isn't that strange?
Like, once again, I've got nothing against certain ideologies, whatever, but I think that when you're pushing it on other people or, you know, pushing it into social places, you need to be understanding that these social places aren't for expressive behaviour, it's for learning, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so people are finding it a little bit strange that this is happening in schools and can actually visually and physically and emotionally see a difference.
Yeah, it's quite like a visual thing.
Compared to last year or 2 years ago to now.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've seen anything outside of school, at school, until the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it has to do with like COVID and people being stuck in their houses for so long, but I just I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, because we know this is kind of going on. Like, I have a friend that I've just done a talk with actually, and that will be up on my podcast, but there's some books that are in schools and libraries that are really inappropriate. Yeah. Do you know anything about that? Have you heard or seen anything?
I've heard a bit about it, but there's none at my school that we've seen.
Yeah.
I think it's more in primary schools, because high school you don't tend to read a lot of like books, and I think the books at the library are just kind of like maths and science and stuff.
So it's got that stuff. Don't have anything else in there. Yeah, it's really interesting what's going on. I suppose unless you're looking for it, you don't see it.
No, yeah, good point actually.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if you went to the library now and seeing what kind of books are in there in the health section.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that actually. Maybe I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, just to see, I suppose, what's going on, because there's some books for 14-year-olds. That's one of the ones that they're looking at now. That's really inappropriate.
No, yeah, I haven't seen much, but I'll have to have a look into it. I'll have to watch your podcast.
Yes, have a look and then just see, like, you know, if there's something. I think this is I get it. I don't know. It upsets me a bit when we're just, well, this is it, what do we, it's like, well, what are we going to do about it? If you're feeling uncomfortable sitting in class learning about stuff you don't feel comfortable learning about, and that you don't feel like you can do anything about it, like, that's sad.
No, yeah, it is, absolutely. But I think the bigger issue is sort of in the issue itself, I suppose. That kind of is confusing, but it's true.
Yeah, there's a bigger, some stuff going on out there. Yes. So that's all going on now.
Yes.
How do you feel about the future?
Of school, I don't feel great about it, because I think it's, you know, this sort of format has been around too long, and I think it's going to change very soon, which is good, but also what are they planning to change it to? I'm sort of noticing, like, the more things are pushed on students and the further we get into the year, the more people that I know are like dropping out.
Oh, really?
Which is, it's really like weird, and I think I've asked a few people, and it has a lot to do with like, I just can't do this anymore, like, because school is such a repetitive format and you do it for 12 years. And it's like, you don't need to do this. You learn about the same things every year. Like, it's not anything new.
I didn't really expect this answer when I was having all these conversations, because I went and spoke to, he's in year 5. The little ones, and this is how it comes up, they're already saying that.
Yeah.
They're like, it's so boring, it's so repetitive. So can you imagine you?
Yeah.
Like, I've been there for 11 years.
I know, yeah. And I've seen it a lot with my brother as well. Like, it just gets to the end of like some of the years and you're like, geez, like, I've got another couple years to go. And it's just like, geez, man, what are we going to do? Like, what
are they going to fill the days with?
What are we going to do? Yeah. And then the problem is, I feel like school has also shown me like what I don't want to do. You know, that I feel like that is all that it's shown me. You know, I'm coming out of year 11 at the end of this year. thinking, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do this.
Like what?
You know?
Can you give me those examples?
I don't want to sit in an office all day. I do not want to do any career where I have to sit in an office all day. I don't want to do a 9 to 5. I can't do it right out of high school.
Because it's just a continuation of what you've just been doing.
It's like hell. That kind of thing, that kind of repetition, it's just like we come out of this for 12 years just to get paid for another 50, you know, to do the exact same thing. It's like, what am I doing here? But yeah, that kind of thing. I think it's so annoying. That's all.
That's good that it's told you what you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. And you were saying as well, like your friends are wanting to leave.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
So it's not really my friends. I mean, we're gonna stick it through. But I have got one friend that dropped out in year 10. So this was like last year at the end of year 10, and she's got a full-time job now. And we were talking to her about it. We were like, you know, like, how is it? Blah, blah, blah. Were you thinking of coming back to school? And she said, well, you know, I enjoy my job. Like, and we were like, yeah, but how much, you know? And she was like, well, I'm going to have to do it out of school anyways. And we said, what do you mean? And she said, well, right out of school, what do you think we're going to be doing? And I said, well, I don't know, like uni or something, maybe go get a job. And she goes, yeah. And then after you do uni, what are you going to do? And she was like, and we said, like, you know, what are you going to do? And she was like, well, I'm going to do what I'm doing now, you know?
She's already getting a head start.
Starting now, yeah. So might as well start early because you're doing it for the rest of your life. Like, and it's just so annoying that.
Well, she's getting the hands-on experience versus going through all the schooling to come back to where she's going to be anyway. How do you see your future, like, even outside of school? How do you feel about your future at this?
I think that...
the planet of everything.
Oh, the planet.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
We're doomed. Lol. I like to be positive, so like I like to keep a positive mindset, and I hope that my life's gonna be full of traveling, you know, things like that. I have plans for after I graduate high school to go to Europe because I'm a dual citizen, so I'm gonna do that. I'm so excited for that. I'll go back to the motherland.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'll do that, and then after that, I think I'm gonna maybe come back, or I want to stay there. I definitely want to stay there, to be honest, but I can see myself coming back. I've got family here. I'd get lonely. And then in terms of a career, I am thinking of either pursuing law or real estate, which neither of them seem like super appealing to me. You know, like...
So you're just tossing up two that you don't
tossing up and I'll see how I go.
You're not even like,
but like
that interested.
Yeah, you know, real estate's pretty social. I'm pretty social. Like, I'm great at sales. So like, I think I'll be successful in that. And I think hopefully I can like really love it when I get into it, you know?
But see, isn't that again sad? Like, not for you, but like that. This is the training of like, what can you make money from? What career versus like, where is your passion? Where is your love? Where is your excitement?
School took it away from me. School took it away from me. No, it's like
we've been taught.
That's so annoying, isn't it? That's so. I know that like I don't really want to do a traditional 9 to 5. And I know that I want to have my own business one day. I want to start my own business. And hopefully, because I'm in real estate, I'll be able to branch out and, you know, then after I'm sort of like done that, I'll employ people to do the job for me. And I think
you've got an entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah, definitely. Or I know that like tech in that is really popular at the moment, like tech, but I'm not great at tech. I'm horrible with technology, so I can't see that working out. So, you know, I think I'd like to do something in real life.
Okay, yes. So all those 12 years have not prepared you really for getting
and then
closer
in
to
the
your
next
passion.
10 years we'll get taken over by robots. So.
Yes.
It's okay, they'll be doing their jobs for us.
You saying that though, these are my two options and I'm not even excited about those two options.
I'm going to toss them up. We'll see how we go.
And maybe bring in a third that you actually care about and you love.
No, I just can't think of anything yet though.
Yeah, school hasn't prepared you for that.
No, school hasn't made me an independent thinker. But in terms of the future of the planet, I think that everything's becoming artificial. I think from intelligence to food sources as well, because there's something that really interests me is food additives as well. That's the other career, I'll toss that in.
Oh, yeah.
Naturopathy. I'd love to
you light up when you talk about this versus law and real estate.
No, I really like looking into like natural sciences kind of thing. And I'm doing food additives for my research project, which is like one of the subjects that we do in year 11 instead of year 12 at the moment. Yeah, so I'm doing my question on aspartame, the artificial sweetener. It's in like Diet Coke, things like that.
Oh, that one.
Aspartame,
Yes.
Sweetener 951.
Yes, yeah.
And my question is about how...
That chemical?
Yeah, that chemical. About how people can raise social awareness, like within their own self kind of thing. I can't remember what my question is actually. I've got too much homework to remember. But I think it's really fascinating because everything's got food additives in it nowadays. And it's not just aspartame. And then when you look into these food additives and look at what they're actually made of, how they're broken down and how they're sort of metabolized, you realize that it's not that great for you. And especially with aspartame, there was a lot of controversy when it was like released and stuff. And then only just recently is the World Health Organization or the WHO.
Yeah,
the World Health Organization. They are releasing a study on the 14th, which is either, I think it's tomorrow, or is it today? No, it's tomorrow, about whether or not aspartame is going to be classed as a carcinogen. Which is really, really bad for your heart. So they've just decided to drop that in now. And aspartame has been approved for like use since 1980s-ish. And so it's just coming out now. And so if you look at things like that and you remember, oh, well, what happened with cigarettes and how they said it was safe for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. Yeah. And then you look at aspartame, it's a reoccurring thing. And so I think the social aspect of the planet, not even just social aspect, like the health of us on the planet, is really going to decline. And we're going to see it. We're going to see it firsthand in the next 10 years or so.
Yeah. There's a lot of not nice things in our food.
No, there is not. Especially in America as well. We're pretty lucky over here in that, no, not that lucky, but we're lucky enough that, you know, we do have access to some greatly organic food, like some, you know, farmers markets, things like that. And I know they have that in America as well, but they also have a lot of terrible things like yellow 40 and red 50, I think it is. Those are like two prime examples.
That are banned here?
That are banned here, but not in America, I don't think. And it's just, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's like, I think that that's part of the propaganda that...
It is, yeah.
Australia doesn't have these things, and
it
wouldn't let Australians, you know, our government wouldn't let us. When you do your research,
you're right, yeah.
But that's good to hear that though, because that it works.
We're Australia and America are very similar though, especially in food aspects.
Well, the Western world is very...
In Europe, it's pretty different though, because the study that is being conducted is in Switzerland or Sweden, where the capital is. And I think that, you know, if the World Health Organization was based in America, then we'd be in trouble. So I think it's... is it based in America?
Well, it's like, you have to look back who pays for the studies.
Oh, okay, yes.
Because at some point, that chemical was approved. How did that get approved? It's always been carcinogenic.
It's not just changed.
It's just now.
And you know what? It's actually not just carcinogenic. It's
endocrine disrupting.
Yeah, it's endocrine disrupting. It's neurotoxic. So, and it's actually the most complained about food additive on the World Health Organization's approval list or the FDA. And the most common like symptom kind of thing is a headache. And there's lots of like, it's varying.
Because then you'll need an aspirin.
Yeah.
Which is really good for Big Pharma.
Yeah. It's great for it.
It all makes sense. Yeah, I've got a holistic health. I'm a health coach.
Oh, nice.
So I've done lots of research and things like that. Yeah. But
good,
you've got to find out who paid for the study, not who did the study, who paid for the study.
The approval of aspartame got approved by this guy who was commissioner at the time, like of the FDA or the wherever it was. Probably the FDA. And then after that, he got like taken off the board for misconduct or something in the grey area, like they didn't really disclose why. And then he took a job at the PR firm of the aspartame company. So, you know, they did pay their way in. Everybody, you know, you don't have solid proof, but it's just one of those things that
and that's amazing that you've done that much research, because most people have got nowhere near that. That's kind of what my question is about. I'll send you when I'm done. I'll send you my outcome. I think that would be like my perfect example for why we're kind of like doomed as a species as well, because the less people speak up, because school's making people less of independent thinkers, so the less people think on their own and independently about, is this really good for me, or was it just paid to enter my food source, you know? And then do their own research.
And do their own research, then, you know, where we're headed is not going to be great.
Unless there's more people like you, and then we're good.
And I'm pretty fortunate, like my parents are always encouraged open thinking, but like I do know a variety of people whose parents, you know, are just head over heels for school. They just love it. So it's just, you know, it's a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah. Good on you though.
Thanks.
Good. Well, there's hope.
Yes.
Speaking to you gives me hope. Gives me hope. Anything else you want to add?
I think it's just important for people to be independent thinkers just outside of school, you know, and encourage your friends. Like, I do that to my friends. I encourage them to question things and like ask, well, you know, is this really true? Should we really be believing this kind of thing? And, you know, it does get difficult if people don't, well, they go, oh, well, whatever. But, you know, it's not hurting anybody to say this. It's not going to hurt anybody. So I think if you can encourage your friends, if you can, you know, change someone's mindset, if you can do that, then don't worry, you know, I'm sure it'll pan out, because you can do, like, if you can do that, then I'm sure everybody else can, and you just think independently. That's
nice.
all. Yeah.
Encourage conversation.
Encourage conversation. You know, it's never going to hurt anybody unless you get on the hit list, you know.
You just keep it like, let's have a conversation, let's not shut each other down, let's ask questions.
Especially the shutting each other down thing as well, because I think that plays into school as well, you know. You have to put your hand up to ask the question, and if it's wrong, it's wrong. There's no further, like, discussion on it.
Yeah, do you experience that?
Yeah, absolutely. In class, yeah.
Yeah, if you've got questions, it's just...
It's either wrong or right. So I think that, you know, you need to encourage people that there is a grey area, and you can, like, be right and wrong, or, you know, wrong and just...
Well, Robert Kiyosaki would say, it's you get taught in school if it's wrong or right, when in real life it's actually situational.
It is, it's definitely...
There is no wrong or right, it's like, it depends on the situation, it depends on the experience.
No, absolutely, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.